Hello students! This handout can serve as a good reviewer on top of the notes of your laboratory manual. This prelim period, as you recall, we did the blood collection methods such as venipuncture and capillary blood collection. Additionally, we also performed blood smear preparation. So, ito yung mga contents ng reviewer na to. Unahin natin si capillary puncture or skin puncture. Techniques, no? First, avoid applying pressure to the area. Okay? Kasi you will induce hemolysis or blood cell destruction kapag may excess pressure onto the skin. Then next, you discard the first drop kasi this will help you help the patient to improve its blood flow into the area and removes the tissue fluid. Ano ba ang ginagawa ng tissue fluid? It will induce coagulation process. No? Madaling mag-clot yung blood kapag hindi mo ginawa yung or na-include mo yung first blood dun sa collection. Okay? And then, iba ang depth of puncture in terms of adults and children. Okay? Sa adult, mas malalim dahil mas makapal yung balat. So, it will range from 2 to 2.5 millimeter. Mas mababaw kapag sa children and infant dahil mas manipis yung balat. Okay? Less than 2 millimeter. Sa site naman, no, ano yung puncture sites na preferable sa mga adults and children? So, pwede sila doon sa palmar surface of the non-dominant hand. So, tatanungin mo unang-una, no, anong ginagamit na pansulat, and then the opposite side ang gagamitin mo for skin puncture. And either third or fourth finger, and dapat yung distal part of the finger ang ipapuncture. Sa bata naman, less than 1 year old, plantar heel portion, either medial or lateral. So, saan banda yan? No? Ito yung sa blue area. So, dito kayo pwedeng mag-puncture. Dito kasi sa bandang gitna, medyo makapal yung skin, no? Makapal yung fat pads. Baka walang masyadong lumabas na blood. We have color-coded capillary tubes in the laboratory. We have red and blue. So, meron tayong mga few differences between the two. So, first, no, yung sa size, both of them have a length size of 75 millimeter or 7.5 centimeters. So, malaki yung font dahil lumabas to sa board exam. So, pakilagyan ng star kasi it is one of the must-knows and most common na tinatanong sa board exam. They have the same capacity, no? They can hold up to 70 microliters of liquid, no, of your blood. Pero in the laboratory, up to 2/3 lang yung fini-fill out ng natin. Okay? And for the additive, sino ang merong anticoagulant at sino ang wala? No? Ang meron ay yung red, no, which have yung mga red capillary tubes have heparin, no? And in some books, very specific sila, no? Ammonium heparin ang meron sila. No? Kaya ang term natin sa mga red capillary tubes ay heparinized capillary tubes. Sa blue naman, walang laman, no additives inside the lumen. So, other term natin dyan, non-heparinized capillary tubes. So, kailan sila ginagamit? Okay? Kapag red capillary tube, no, since meron silang additive, pwede mo silang gamitin pang-collect directly from the skin puncture para hindi mag-coagulate after mo ma-aspirate yung blood from the site of skin prick. Okay? Ang blue naman, no, dahil wala siyang heparin, wala siyang additive sa loob, pwede mo yan gamitin if ever magko-collect ka ng blood from a vacutainer or any blood collection tube, no? Kasi ang mga vacutainers, no, all of them already have additives on them except yung red nga, no? And bakit non-heparinase ang ginagamit in cases of this? Para ma-avoid ang over-dilution kasi meron nang anticoagulant. Kung gagamit ka pa ng additional heparin, no, meron tayong yung technical problem doon ay na-over-dilute yung blood. Hence, ma-affect yung mga results ng laboratory parameters. Okay. Order of draw naman. Kung kailangan mo ng multiple test for the skin or capillary blood. So, paano mo sila i-arrange? So, first, kapag merong request for blood gas analysis, no, which makes use of the green or heparinized tube, okay? And then, slides if ever kailangan, no? Minsan kasi hinihiwala yan from EDTA. Di ba from EDTA yung mga peripheral blood smears? Kasi konti lang yung specimen na makukuha nila. Okay? So, dapat mag-prepare ka ng separate slide for that. And then next, EDTA. Now, ito yung first na anticoagulated tube to be filled. And then next, the other anticoagulated tubes. So, baka kailangan ng citrated or may fluoride containing tubes. Yan, pwede ka na mag-proceed sa mga ganito. And then lastly, yung walang anticoagulant. No? Zero micro collection tube na. So, ang mnemonics dyan is GSOS. Okay? Gas analysis, slide, EDTA, other anticoagulated tube, and then serum microcollection tube. Okay. Venipuncture tayo. Most common site is mga veins na makikita sa antecubital fossa. Okay? Yan yung nasa may opposite of the elbow. In order of preference, so anong uunahin mong vein? If ever lahat sila visible and possible na pwede mong kuhaan. So first, ang unang-una mo talagang pipiliin ng kakapain is yung median cubital fossa, no? Nasa gitnang part yan ng antecubital fossa. And then cephalic, yan yung nasa may thumb side. And then basilic vein. Ito yung nasa may little finger side. So, meron kami mnemonics before para hindi magkalituhan sa cephalic and basilic. Yung basilic sounds like baskil, right? Kasing side niya yung sa kilikili. Okay? Magkakaside yan. So, ito yung huling-huli na tinitake into consideration kapag venipuncture. Kasi mas painful dito and mas mataas ang chance na baka ma-hit mo rin yung artery dito, which is the brachial artery. Okay, needle size. Needle size depends on the gauge of the needle. Okay, the most commonly used for adults is 21 gauge. And yung needle size ng 21 gauge ranges from 1 to 1.5 inches. And yung gauge size, paano mo yan malalaman? The higher the number, the smaller the lumen size. Ano ba yung lumen? Ito yung hole or yung parang butas ng needle. So, mas mataas yung number, mas maliit yung lumen size. Or kung, kaya dito kayo mag-base, no? Kung mas salbahe yung pasyente, no, mas dapat ang pipiliin mo is mas maliit na number. Okay? So, kidding aside, dito tayo. Color-coded ang mga gauge. Okay? Ang 18 is yung madalas nakikita sa mga blood bank or blood donation drive. Color pink yan. Okay? Then 21, green. Ito yung most common for adults. 23, blue. Pwede yan gamitin din sa adults. And sa mga children or para sa mga tawag dito, vaccination, ito yan. Yung 26 brown and 32 orange. Ito, nakikita nyo yung 32 orange sa mga 1 ml syringes, yung mga maliliit. Okay. Ano yung mga sites naman na kailangan natin iwasan during venipuncture? Okay. First, edematous sites, yung mga may manas. So, pipiliin mo yung walang manas na site. And yung may madalas sa nagkakaroon ng anong tawag dito, hindi pantay na arms, no? Yung mga patient na may breast cancer who underwent mastectomy. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng mastectomy? Removal of breast tissue. Okay? Nagkakaroon sila ng lymphedema or nagkakaroon ng disruption of the flow of the lymph. Kasi inaalis din, no, pati yung mga lymph nodes, yung mga ganyan. So, medyo pangit yung drainage of the lymph. Kaya nagkakaroon ng manas. Okay? If ever nag-undergo na ang double mastectomy, yung dalawang yan, natanggal, yung dalawang to, manas. So, anong pwede mong gawin? Mag-skin puncture ka na lang. Okay? Next, fistula. Ano ba ang fistula? It is a connection or a surgical connection of artery and vein na madalas nyo makita yan sa mga nag-hemodialysis. Kaya pag pupunta kayo sa mga hemodialysis unit, iiwasan nyo yung arm na may fistula. Or kapag nasa regular ward na sila, tanungin nyo, no, kung may fistula or kung hindi sila aware kung nagda-dialysis pa sila. Okay? Kasi ito yung site na ilalagay nila yung parang tube for the hemodialysis. So, ganyan kalalaki yung mga veins ng mga may fistula. So, akala nyo, blessed kayo, no? Na hindi nyo na kailangan mag-tourniquet at haltang-halta yung vein, no? It's not, it's a trap. Pag hahawakan nyo to, no? Nagbabibrate to dahil ongoing yung connection of the blood between artery and vein. Pangit yan na source of specimen. And then, iwas mo rin ang leg or foot veins if with diabetes mellitus. Kasi ito ang madalas na cause of circulatory problem. May makikita kang may diabetes mellitus na may ganitong pangapaa, no? Iwas ka sa mga yan. Kasi wala ka talagang makukuhang blood. And very damaged na yung mga veins. Then next, yung mga nag-IV therapy, intravenous therapy, or mga naka-dextrose in layman's term. So, anong gagawin mo pag nakita mo yan? So, kukuha ka sa other arm din. If ever, no, manas yung isa, tapos itong isang arm naman yan, naka-IV. So, anong pipiliin mo? Yung naka-IV line na, no? And then, tawagin mo yung nurse to stop the infusion for 2 minutes lang. Kasi, itong mga naka-IV, may halong gamot yung mga yan. So, hindi dapat ma-disturb yung flow ng kanilang mga medication. And you draw the blood below the catheter. Ito yung catheter ng IV. So, pataas kasi yung flow ng gamot. Okay? Kaya, kukuha ka ng dugo dito sa ilalim para walang halong mga medication or fluid sa baba. Ay, dito ka banda, kukuha ng dugo. Ever. Okay, techniques tayo. What is the preferred angle between the skin and needle? It must be less than 30 degrees. Okay? More than that, you can puncture or mas deep yung pagkakapuncture mo dun sa area. Less than that, mas shallow. And then, tourniquet application, the length of time must be less than 1 minute. Kapag more than that, no, the most common cause of hemolysis is the prolonged tourniquet application. So, be wary of that. Okay? And then next, it will shorten the coagulation studies because of disturbance of the tissue fluids kapag mas matagal yung pagkakatali ng tourniquet. And what is the distance from the venipuncture site? Must be 3 to 4 inches above the preferred venipuncture site or the antecubital fossa. Next, again, the most common gauge size for adults is 21 and ano ang color code for the 21 gauge? Green, di ba? And ano yung size of the needle? 1 to 1.5 inches. And then, never puncture a patient more than twice. Kapag hirap talaga, you refer the patient to senior. And then next, and lastly, never instruct the patient to flex and extend the arm. Dahil it will, lalo na, it will disturb the serum potassium level of the blood specimen. Complications. The most common complication is ecchymosis or in layman's term, bruising. This is flat, sometimes purplish in color kapag matinding trauma dun sa vein. And technically, hindi ito yung hematoma. Hematoma is in lesser occurrence pagdating sa venipuncture kasi maliit lang naman yung needle natin. No? Yung hematoma is actually bulging or swollen yung area. Kung mapapansin nyo dito, is a victim of motor vehicular crash. No? Nagkaroon ng hematoma dun sa kanyang right leg. So, ganito kalala yung swelling kapag hematoma and hindi mo talaga ito madalas makikita sa mga venipuncture process. The second most common complication is syncope or fainting. Yung mga may phobia sa mga needle, no, madalas nagkakaroon sila ng ganitong event. Okay, additives na tayo. So we discuss first the anti-glycolytic agents. Itong mga to is actually ginagamit para sa mga glucose level determination dahil yung RBC gumagamit ng glucose. Kapag hindi mo ginamit itong klase ng additive, it will result to falsely low levels of glucose. Okay? So, first, dito tayo kay sodium fluoride. Ang color ng top is gray and inversions. How many inversions? 8. Okay? May mga mababasa ka, no? 8 to 10 na range. So, para hindi kayo masyadong marami memorize na number, focus tayo sa number, single number lang. Okay? 8. So, ano ang meron dito sa sodium fluoride? So, aside from this one, it has anticoagulant called potassium oxalate, which is yung oxalate chelates calcium para i-prevent yung coagulation process. And aside from glucose level determination, it can also be used for blood alcohol determination as well. Next, lithium iodoacetate. The same importance as sodium fluoride. Same din ang top, no? Gray din. And then inversions, 8 din. Ano naman ang meron dito na anticoagulant? Ito ang difference nila, okay? It has heparin. Heparin inhibits your thrombin, therefore walang coagulation process na mangyayari. Okay? Next group of additives is clot activators. Ibig sabihin, wala dapat na anticoagulant additive dito. Kasi gusto mo na ang mangyari is the coagulation process. Okay. Dito sa mga type of additives na to, no, ang kailangan mo is testing for serum studies. Okay? So, better sila sa mga clinical chemistry parameters. Unahin natin yung red top. Ang red tops ay either made of glass or plastic. Kapag glass ang hawak mo na tube, wala ka dapat na inversion na gagawin. Pag plastic, kailangan mag-i-invert ka pa rin up to 5 times. And then, this is being used for stat serum testing kasi nga it activates the clotting process mas mabilis. Ngayon, humihiwalay yung serum from the RBCs. Dito naman sa glass, ano ang nagpapa-activate ng clotting process? It is the silicone. So, ito yung content of glass na nagpapa-activate ng coagulation process. Next, thrombin, which is in orange top. Inversions are from 5 to 6 times. And again, ang thrombin naman, ito yung nagpapa-activate ng clotting process through activation of the fibrinogen group of coagulation factors. Next, serum separator. And this type of Vacutainers forms barrier between the serum or the plasma and the blood cells. Okay? And then we have two types, either pang serum testing or plasma testing tayo. No? Kapag serum or serum separator tube, SST. Ano ang kulay? Gold. Inversions mo ay 5 lang. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, lahat ng mga serum testing, laging 5 ang inversions, except kapag glass red top. Wala ka dapat na inversion. Okay? Next, plasma separator tube or PST. Dito naman, mint green. Ano ang inversions? 8 times. And then, ano ang meron sa na anticoagulant? Heparin. So, yung mga heparin, halos lagi yan, no? Green ang color ng tube. And in this type of test, Vacutainer, you cannot collect blood for lithium testing kasi it will cause falsely increased levels. In other anticoagulants na ginagamit in coagulation studies, so focus tayo with the citrates. Unahin natin ang 3.2% sodium citrate, which is in light blue top. You invert it 3 to 4 times. Okay? And ano ang ratio between the anticoagulant, yung 3.2 sodium citrate, to your blood sample? It should be 1:9. And ano ba yung role ng citrate? Bakit siya ginagamit for coagulation studies? Because citrate will chelate calcium in the blood sample. Therefore, it will not disturb the coagulation rate, no, in terms of PT and PTT. 3.8 sodium citrate naman, which is in black top. Ang inversion lagi dyan is 3.4. Kapag citrated, laging 3.4 ang inversion. Dito naman, hindi siya ginagamit for coagulation studies. Instead, ginagamit siya for Westergren method of ESR. And ang ratio naman dito is 1:4. Okay, next naman tayo sa mga additives natin. We have EDTA or the ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, which is the most common blood collection tube, and ang color ng Vacutainer, lavender top. Okay? And then ilan ang inversion for this Vacutainers? Dapat 8 times. And ano ang action ba ng EDTA? EDTA actually chelates your calcium. And then for the concentration, it has to be 1.5 milligram per ml of blood. So talagang susundan mo yung linya or markings of the Vacutainer tube. Kasi pag sumobra ka dyan, you will not achieve the anticoagulant property of the EDTA. It is used mostly for hematologic studies such as your CBC, platelet count, reticulocyte count, ESR, and even used for as a specimen for blood smear. Next, heparin, green ang color ng tube. And inversions mo dyan, 8. It is used for blood gas studies and OFT. Ano ba ang OFT? Osmotic fragility testing. And again, heparin inhibits thrombin, therefore walang coagulation na magaganap. Ano naman ang concentration natin dyan? 10 to 15 units per ml of blood. And lithium heparin is a type of vacutainer tube na mostly or most widely used. And then kapag ito ang gagamitin mong vacutainer, you cannot collect blood for lithium studies. Dito naman tayo sa mga oxalate containing tubes. Ito, tinitimpla to, no? We have double oxalate and balanced oxalate. Ang inversions natin dyan is 8. It might contain potassium oxalate or the Paul Heller's fluid plus ammonium oxalate or Winthrop's fluid. Kaya tinawag na double oxalate. And ano ba ang effect ng mga to? Potassium oxalate shrinks RBC, while ammonium oxalate swells the RBC. So kapag kinombine mo sila, it will cause a balanced environment for RBC. Kaya ang tawag din dyan is balanced oxalate. So ano ang ratio naman between your potassium oxalate and ammonium oxalate? It has to be 2:3. And this type of additive can be used as a substitute for EDTA kung wala kang ganitong tube. Other tubes for blood collection, we have blood culture tube, yellow top ang gamit, and inversion natin dyan is 8. So ano ang meron sa loob ng blood culture tubes? It has sodium polyinyl sulfonate with or without ACD. Okay? So, ano ang ginagawa ng SPS or the sodium polyinyl sulfonate? Number 1, it prevents phagocytosis of your WBC. So, na-maintain yung number of the bacteria. It prevents the complement activation. No? Again, it protects the bacteria or the presence of the bacteria on the specimen, and it neutralizes the antibiotics taken by the patient. Okay? And then, we have another type of yellow top na merong ACD lang. No? So, ang tinatawag na ACD tube. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng ACD? Your acid citrate dextrose. And dito naman, ginagamit lang siya for blood banking or DNA studies. Ano ba yung HLA test? Ito ay ginagamit din for blood bank, no? HLA stands for Human Leukocyte Antigen Testing. Okay. And then lastly, your sodium EDTA, ang kulay niyan is royal blue or navy blue. Inversions again, 8 yan. And it is used for trace metal determination. Ano ba yung mga trace metals? Yun yung mga zinc, okay? Ano pa? Chromate, lead, yung mga yan. And if included siya sa laboratory request, ito ang pinakauna mong kukunin na blood specimen. Dito tayo sa order of draw, specifically sa closed system or the vacutainer method. Okay, first is the yellow top for blood culture. Pero take note natin, if meron tayong trace metal determination, ang unang-una is the royal blue or navy blue. Ilan ang inversion? 8 yan. Light blue, citrate. Okay? And then, we can use gold or red. Ano ang meron sa gold? meron siyang SST, right? Ang red, either glass or plastic. Kapag glass, 0. Pag plastic, 5. 5 inversion. Okay? Ito naman, ang pwede mo dito is yung mga serum studies natin. Sa green top, it has heparin for the blood gases or OFT. Lavender top for EDTA or for hematologic tests or studies. Gray top naman, it has sodium fluoride for glucose and alcohol determination. So, halos lahat, no? 8, except your citrate, 3 to 4. Serum studies, either 0 or 5. Ano ang mnemonics namin dito before? Bees can see, go eat flowers. B for blood culture. C, yung citrate. S for serum studies. G, go for green. No, para di tayo malito kasi maraming G. Gold, green, and gray. Kapag go, green. E, EDTA, F, fluoride. Peripheral blood smear studies naman tayo. So, ano ang most preferred source of specimen? From EDTA tube dapat. And dapat ang smear mo, it has to be made within 2 hours after the blood collection. Ano mga advantages and disadvantages of an EDTA blood smear? Advantages dyan, it prevents the platelet clumping, and you can create multiple slides kasi madami kang blood sample kapag from EDTA blood tube. Disadvantage lang is that EDTA can predispose the specimen to platelet satellitism. And ano ba tong platelet satellitism? So, focus tayo dito sa picture na to. Yung mga platelet, dumidikit sa mga WBC. Specifically, what is this type of WBC? This is a neutrophil. So, madalas nangyayari yan kapag EDTA blood smear. So, we have 2 techniques. So, discuss muna natin yung unang-una. 2-glass slide or manual wedge method. This is the most common method of preparing blood smear. And meron tayong tamang techniques, no, para dyan. The angle between the 2 glass slides should be 30 degrees to 40 degrees. Kapag mas mataas dyan, more than 45, you will create a thicker smear. Okay? Kapag mas manipis ang gusto mo, dapat bababaan mo yung angle mo. Okay? Less than 30 degrees. Okay, dito naman tayo, size of blood. It should be, yung diameter niya is 2 to 3 mm. Kapag mas malaki yung drop of blood, obviously, mas thicker ang smear, mas mahaba ang smear din as well. Kapag mas konti, mas manipis, mas maikli yung blood smear. Based naman sa hematocrit ng pasyente, no? If more than the normal value, dapat lower mo yung angle mo. Kasi lowering the angle will make the smear thinner. Para yung mga RBCs hindi nagkakapatong-patong. No? It will spread evenly. Kapag mababa naman yung hematocrit ng pasyente, konting-konti lang yung RBC sa blood sample, you have to make a thicker smear. Okay? So, gagawin mo, tataasan mo yung angle mo. So, higher angle dapat if you want or in patient with low hematocrit. In terms of speed naman, kapag mas mabilis mo in-spread through glass slide, mas makapal yung smear. Kapag mabagal, no, dahan-dahan, mas manipis ngayon yung magagawa mong blood smear. Okay? So, this is a 2-glass slide technique. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na spreader slide. So, siya yung magsispread. Okay? Ano ulit ang angle? 30 to 45 degrees Celsius. Gaano kalaki yung drop of blood? 2 to 3 millimeter. Okay? So, antayin mo mag-spread across the wedge of the spreader slide. Okay? And then, going towards the opposite end. Okay. Pwede ka naman mag-prepare ng dalawang klaseng smear, no? Either thin or thick smear. Paano gumawa ng thin smear? So, based dun sa previous principles, no? You have to drop a smaller drop of blood. Dapat mas slow ang speed ng spreading and mas mababa ang angle of the spreader slide and glass slide. As in contrast with thick smears, kailangan mas malaki yung drop of blood, mas mabilis ang spread, and mas mataas yung angle of the spreader slide. Saan ba ginagamit ang thin smear? It is most commonly used for blood studies and bone marrow cell studies. Kapag thick smear naman, screening studies yan for parasites. What is the criteria for a good blood smear? No? Yung based dun sa wedge method or yung two glass slide method natin. So, dapat ang shape niya is finger shape. Bullet shape is actually wrong, no? So, hindi yan yung dapat correct answer. Dapat daw finger shape blood smear. The length of blood film should cover at least 2/3 or 3/4 of the slide. So, hindi pwede yung buong slide na cover ng blood. The gradual transition from thick to thin is very much appreciated. So, dapat makapal and then panipis ng panipis. And with visible lateral edges. Okay? So, kailangan hindi siya sagad na sagad dun sa pinaka-dulong part of the edge. Kailangan na-appreciate nyo pa yung lateral edge of the smear. Okay? So, we have two most commonly used scanning method. We have longitudinal and battlement method. Sa longitudinal, no, ang method dyan is tail towards the head. So, unahin mo muna ang tail, papunta sa head, pabalik sa tail, papunta sa head, pabalik sa tails. Hanggang maka 100 fills ka or maka 100 WBCs ka. And then dito naman sa battlement, back and forth serpentine. So, mangyayari dyan, you will start from the feathery edge, okay, papunta do, vertically down, horizontal, papunta sa center, ha, then vertically up, papunta sa center, down, papunta sa center, up, hanggang sa maka 100 WBCs ka. So, ito yung mga yan, no? And the battlement method is actually gives the most accurate results, okay? Kasi mas kita mo lahat ng or distribution, mas better distribution of the cells. And then another type of or least common, kumbaga, sa lahat ng scanning method is the cross-sectional or crenellation. And in this type of method, wala lang, side by side lang without pattern. Basta maka 100 WBCs ka. And then, in this type of scanning method, possible na mabilang mo yung nabilang mo na previously na WBC. Okay, the second technique for blood smear is cover slip method. And in this type of method, mas advantageous siya in terms of WBC distribution. And this is also called as Ehrlich's method. So, paano yung gagawin? Magdadrop ka ng blood sa gitna ng cover slip and magpapatong ka ng cover slip ng diagonally and then hihilayin mo on one side. So, magka-create ka ng ganitong type of blood smear. Okay. Pwede rin naman ito, no? Pagpa-down yung tawag dito, spread. Okay. Total, nag-usap naman tayo ng microscopic examination. So, paano natin i-assess kung tama yung or accepted or reject yung blood smear. So, unahin muna natin, no, i-observe yung blood smear under 10 times objective. Ito yung yellow, no, yung color code. And dito, i-assess mo yung overall film quality, no, distribution of the cells, yung mga yan. And then, dito din, makikita mo if ever merong snowflow effect. Ano ibig sabihin ng snowflow effect? This effect shows the presence of more than 4 times the WBC per field. Okay? Dapat hindi lalagpas ng 4 na WBC kada field ng view mo. Okay? Lalong-lalo na at the feathery edge or dun sa lateral edge of your smear. Kapag merong ganito, no, pangit yung distribution of the WBC, you must reject the smear. And then next, you can detect your blue formation or the RBC in stacks of coin formation. So, madalas dito sa mga may madadaming proteins. Okay? Either pwede mong i-reject or pwede mong i-accept. No? Pag i-accept mo itong smear na to, pupunta ka doon sa area na walang masyadong blue formation. Dito tayo sa dito sa blue objectives natin. Dito pwede mong gawin is to estimate the WBC count, no? If ever halimbawa no nakabilang ka ng 5 WBCs per field, so pwede mo estimate 'yan by computing, no? The number of cells counted multiplied by 2,000. So, yun na yung estimate total number of your WBC count. Sa OIO naman tayo, no? Or yung may 100 times objective, pwede mo ma-appreciate yung nucleus and granules of your WBC para sa differential count mo. No? And also, can be done to estimate your platelet count. So that is my last slide. So a few reminders lang, no. I will be posting a practice practical exam tomorrow. Unfortunately, this will be recorded para lang maengganyo kayo mag-practice for the moving practical examination next week. The deadline for this will be September 14th at 11:59 p.m. no, para meron kayong gagamiting reviewer on top of this handout. Aside from sa laboratory manual and this handout, gawin nyo ring reviewer yung practice practical exam which will be posted tomorrow. Okay? Good luck and see you next week.